Interestingly enough, let's go down to southern Texas because I want to give y'all some insight on what's happening down here in southern Texas. Sorry about the camera. Let's go ahead and get into it.
You now to a News Nation exclusive. You know we have kept a highlight on the southern border for years at this point, where our cameras were rolling when human smugglers let a family through a hole that they cut in the border wall.
So you see the family actually make their way through. The leader of the smuggling group then actually motioned to our News Nation crew to come over. He apparently wanted to have some type of conversation. And Allie Bradley is certainly on top of all of this. She joined us live this morning for more on the story and what they had to say. Allie.
Yeah, hey, Adrienne, good morning. Right now, we're out here in Lukeville. There's about 600 people right now. A lot of them are huddled around fires that they've made out here, and that's a scene that we've been seeing play out down here as they're waiting. Some of these folks are waiting 2 to 3 days because of family units are prioritized, and as you just saw, family groups continue to pour across the border.
The news crew is sitting, watching families huddled, preparing and waiting after and before just walking into the country with no resistance whatsoever. Let's back up for a minute. The news crew is showing them huddled around a fire, hanging out at the border, because there's no restrictions, resistance, or technology to stop them from getting in at all. Nothing. Nobody. Everybody just hanging out. They go in and they come back. They're going to go home over there and then they're going to come back over here when it's convenient for them because they ain't even tripping about it. They having a conversation with the news crew at the border. Oh, man, this is crazy, man.
And the cartels have really figured out that it's a really efficient way to get people across is by cutting holes in the wall. And they're also tying up Border Patrol when they're doing that. So here in Lukeville, we watched as one of 3 criminal cartel SUVs actually rolled up. And a lot of times they're blacked out at night. They don't even have their lights on. But it's all orchestrated. They are controlling all of this. You watch 8 people pour out of that car. They're escorted to the wall by smugglers. And then you see them cross through a hole.
That ain't black. That's a white SUV, and it looked like a Tahoe.
That hole was cut by them. The migrants then tell me they're from Peru. So you can see the older gentleman. He only has one leg. He needed some help getting through the breach point there.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on, family. Hold on, family. What up, Carrie? You're a little late, but I'm going to give you a pass because you was on a live stream last night with me watching. Not coming over with a sweater tied around your neck. Hold on. Wait a minute. You telling me homie came over here with one leg. He got his Coogee sweater. Hold on 1 second. Not coming over with the walker and the Coogee sweater wrapped around your neck. Right after they cut the hole in the wall with no kind of resistance whatsoever. Oh, man. No. Oh, no. Freaky Jason, tell me it ain't so. Tell me it ain't so. Tell me you didn't just walk over here with a Coogee sweater wrapped around your neck with one leg and a walker, getting dropped off in a white Tahoe by somebody that just literally cut a hole in the fence. Come on, man. Come on. Come on, man. What we doing out here in these streets, man?
When they're done, that smuggler motioned for me to come over. So I went over there and I was standing there talking with him, and he was telling me that he didn't want me to record him. So he started recording me, and then he also said that he was not cartel and he was not a coyote, even though we literally just saw him push people through a hole in the wall. And he went on to say that he wouldn't show me his face, he wouldn't tell me his name, but he just wanted to continue to record me because of who I was and what I looked like, calling me beautiful. So it was a little bit ominous.
Hey, not the migrant then already got the little kitties over and the one-legged man, and he pulled out his phone and said, "What's up, beautiful? I just want to record you because I want to have a conversation." Not the Riz at the border. Come on, man. Come on. I agree, Mellyville. This is crazy. It's cold as ever outside over here. And my man pulled up, dropped off the kids at the border and the one-legged man. They walk right on in. Not a problem. And then he was like, "Hey, baby, come here." He ain't running. He ain't tripping. He ain't worried about Border Patrol. He ain't worried about nothing. They pulled up, got a full tank of gas, dropped the kids off, and then wanted to get at the reporter and said, "Hey, baby, why don't you turn the camera off and let's have a conversation?" What the heck? What is going on in the United States of the Americas?
It's a little bit eerie to have that conversation with him. Even when he was in the breach point in that hole, he even flexed at one point. They were kind of taunting us all throughout all of this, and he pulled out
Because they don't care.
recording me. And you know, at this point, 2 hours later, we saw the same group roll back up, and this time they were cutting a new hole in the wall. It wasn't even a football field away from the hole that was already open. They used an electric saw and drills, and they even brought out a generator at one point. So the plan was to cut the base of that bollard and then hitch it to a vehicle and pull it off of the wall altogether. There's actually bollards that are on the Mexico side that they've already done this to. And while they were out there, they're standing out there taunting us. They were blowing kisses at me. They were laughing. They just continued cutting through that wall. This is pretty much a big game to them at this point, a very lucrative game at that. But we did call Border Patrol. Border Patrol was able to respond out there, and within moments they had stopped. But moments later, they were doing it at another place. Now, I do want to mention to you here, Marky, that I just talked to 2 little girls from Ecuador who are out here by themselves. Their mom is apparently out here, a 10-year-old girl and a 7-year-old. And they were crying, and they were visibly scared. And I was doing my best to talk with them. I gave them some words, tried to calm them down a little bit, but they just wanted their mom. And honestly, I asked Border Patrol, how are we going to link them back up with their mom? They said they're going to do their best, and they just... Sometimes it doesn't happen like that, Marky.
Yeah, and you know, you hope that the mom.
Honestly, I'm ashamed right now. I'm genuinely ashamed. I grew up thinking that this was the greatest country on the face of the earth. I did not know that we was basically operating a third world country and pretending like and using the facade of the American flag in order to emphasize and try to keep us as patriots. Is this what our ancestors died for, building this country? And I'm not just talking about slaves. I'm talking about Native Americans fighting alongside slaves, black people, construction workers, forefathers, army, military, Navy, Air Force. Is this the thing that we built this country up to be? You know how many people shed blood and fought for different things that's happening in this country, and they just taunting you. They just look at you. Let me pull this up. I just need to pull this up. Military budget, 2023. The military budget, I'm going to just read it. According to usaspending.gov, usaspending.gov, based off of the Department of Defense. All right. Each year, federal agencies receive funding from Congress known as budgetary resources. In full year 2023, the Department of Defense, the DoD, had 1.52, y'all got to hear this, 1.52 trillion distributed amongst its 6 subcomponents. Agencies spend available budgetary resources by making financial promises called obligations. This is according to usaspending.gov. 1.52, no, not 1 trillion, 1 trillion plus 500 billion more in one fiscal year. $1.52 trillion allocated in full year 2023. And this is y'all money. This is y'all tax money. This is your tax money. And then I deep dove a little bit more on Statista.com. Says the United States led ranking countries with the highest military spend in 2022 with $877 billion US dedicated to the military. That constituted nearly 40% of the total military spending worldwide that year, which amounted to 2.2 trillion US dollars.
Really is there somewhere in that proximity. And you've seen so much so close up in person. In that moment, when you were talking to that cartel smuggler on the other side of the, were you nervous? Are there Border Patrol agents nearby? I mean, I'm just thinking about your security as well.
You know, I've seen a lot down here, as you said, and that was probably the closest violation of safety that I felt down here. There was no Border Patrol around. It was me and a independent journalist down there. And honestly, I go by my gut all the time. And that one shook me a little bit. I did not want to approach him. I asked him, do you have a gun? Are you going to hurt me? And he said no, and he just kept summoning me over. And I just kind of took the chance. And it did not feel safe.
That's how you get them. That's how you get these hoes. That's real talk. They always get curious until the curiosity catch you. It happened the same way in your local bar. They scared, but they're enthralled. They're super interested in what you got to do and what you got to say. Ooh, you seem dangerous. I know it's not safe for me to come over there. I know you can't speak English. I know you got your camera out. I know you got a mask on. But let me come over there and talk to you anyway. Shout out to my snow hairs. But I know you're trying to understand, Anton. Well, why is Brandon Johnson that person at the bottom of the page when you're talking about these people? Well, do you remember all of those pastors that were standing around Brandon Johnson when he was going back and forth with reporters and telling them about where it is that he stands as far as this migrant crisis that's happening over in Chicago? Well, police officers finally had enough, and they said, we putting y'all out of the police station over here in Chicago.
Today marks day one of the city's new initiative to tackle the migrant crisis by partnering with churches to take in asylum seekers.
CBS 2's Andrew Ramos was in Pilsen, where migrants arrived at one of those temporary church shelters.
Now, Dunamis Life Church here in Pilsen, among the 17 churches across the city expected to take in asylum seekers in the next coming days. The goal is to keep them safe from the cold and then get them ready to live on their own. The smiles and the sense of relief were hard to miss. Wednesday morning, dozens of asylum seekers who for months called the 5th District Police Station home boarded buses to start a new chapter. As many as 40 of them being transferred to churches on the south side, where they'll each get a bed to call their own and receive accommodations they haven't had for months. It's all part of Mayor Brandon Johnson's new initiative where the city will be partnering with 17 churches citywide to take in migrants.
Now, here's my question. And I don't know, but I'm absolutely, positively curious. And if you guys are not asking similar questions, then you should, okay? Now, they're moving these migrants because they, uncomfortable, and the police is starting to get them outside of the police department because they was sleeping right next to your local detective that was investigating whatever problem that was happening. Here's my question, and you guys need to be asking the same question. Is there resources and monies being allocated over into these black pastors' churches to ensure that they're housing these migrants that's a part of your local budget? You got to ask the questions. And it doesn't mean that the churches is not doing what they believe is right, but I'm trying to understand if there's a financial incentive to get these people staying at these 17 churches that are spread out all across Chicago, including the South Side. Does it actually shore up the church's money and budget, and what's happening to the building fund? See, my mind always trying to figure out, where does this come back to the money? I always want to understand where it comes back to the money. And so we see this feel-good story that's being painted in front of us. And oh my God. Oh, let me take this Coogee off. I was talking about the migrant crisis. My man had came across the border with his Coogee on, and he was like, "What up, though?" The people come by and they say, "Oh my God, we got to make sure that we help the people." How much are Chicago taxpayers paying churches that you guys say that you don't even go to anyway in order to make sure that these migrants are housed? Now, I don't know. I can't assume that they're paying anything because I don't know. But the question still remains, and I'm very, very curious, and I'm trying to understand, where is it going? Where is the money going? And is it going to the church, or is it staying within the city budget? Are they doing it just out of the kindness of their heart? And who's close to Mayor Johnson as far as having conversations based off of the fact that him declaring this to be a crisis gives him power and autonomy to do whatever it is that he want to do when he want to do it when it comes to the budget that's aligned with the migrant crisis. So when I seen all of the pastors that was hanging around Brandon Johnson, I didn't just by default say that these pastors would just wanted to show up to pray for Brandon Johnson. I'm always trying to understand, where does it come back to the money, and why are they so willing to stand in front of this guy or next to this guy, considering that this guy is under fire. He's on the news every single day. Live streams come across the TV as far as highlighting how this migrant crisis is absolutely bad. Why would they put themselves in harm's way as far as the congregation and the people that may or may not stand with whatever it is that's happening within their city? And why are they so incentivized in order to stand next to Brandon Johnson? So now for me, it's all starting to click. It's all starting to make sense. Where does this come back to the money? Where does this come back to the money? Where does this come back? How much of the budget is being allocated to the Episcopal Baptist Church in order to make sure that they house, feed, clothe, and give healthcare coverage and get these people back and forth to wherever their destination's at, considering that the money that's for the building fund is down because everybody is broke and ain't nobody got no money from inflation? I'm going to stay on it.
Providing them shelter and resources for up to 60 days, where the goal is to transition them to living on their own.
Their biggest question was, can we stay close so that we can, find work?
Pastor looking real dope. Pastor looking clean. Hair is looking good. Got his hair slicked back, looking good. I see you, Pastor John Zayas. And I don't know who senior Pastor John Zayas is. I don't know anything about it. He probably is just doing it for free, right out of the goodness of his heart. I know that he said that he recently hired some migrants, and they working at the church and on the church, and they cleaning up the church. And so he has more donations than he can ever imagine as far as the physical stuff. So much so, as I did a live stream based off of something that he said, that they had to stop people from giving physical clothing as donations to the church because it was runneth over. Their cup runneth over. So let's continue.
To live, things like that, and so we accommodated that.
We got a peek inside this temporary shelter at Dunamis Life Church, where it could hold a maximum of 20 individuals at a time, which will be standard at all 17 participating churches. The transition is being met with much relief from asylum seekers.
We're going to help them with mental health, which is so needed as they trek their journey across jungles and went through all kinds of who knows what.
Back at the 5th District Police Station, volunteers like Denise Rojas and Nancy Johnson say the day is bittersweet. They have been on the front lines assisting in the migrant crisis since the beginning. They understand the obstacles and hope the city is now better equipped to handle any future surges of arrivals.
Got it.
They should have never, these people, since they were welcomed, they should have never had to experience this, sleeping outside in these harsh conditions and these harsh weathers.
Clearing out police stations as well as those still left at O'Hare Airport is going to be an effort that continues for the next couple of days. The 17 churches are going to be able to accommodate up to 300 migrants in total.
Somebody in the chat said, what about our vets? Somebody in the chat said, how come we not deploying more resources in order to take care of the people that's already here? Somebody in the chat said, this is where our dollars is going. Yep. This is where your dollars is going, ladies and gentlemen.